Thank you all for joining us today as part of our Giving Tuesday festivities. My name is Tanya Creamer, and I'm the Assistant Director of News and Information at Flagler College. And today I'll be joined by Linda Stoughton. She is the Emergency Management Director for St. Johns County. So welcome to you, Linda.
Good afternoon.
So today we're going to be talking to you because you're a graduate of Flagler College's Public Administration program. And today, as part of the Giving Tuesday festivities, we're discussing the impact of different Flagler College programs. And so we're wanting to hear what the impact of the program is on you and your role as you serve at the EOC, where you are right now as we're chatting. So for everybody who's watching, just keep in mind that we're having this conversation of impact, and that there's many other stories that people are sharing in addition to Linda. And that this is all to bring awareness of and raise funds for the Flagler College Cares Emergency Relief Fund. So this fund is supporting students who are most in need at this moment. And we're just looking to hear those stories from people so that everybody can get an idea of student impact stories and alumni impact stories. So with that, we'll get started. And Linda, the last time you spoke to somebody from Flagler was in 2018. You sat with us for a magazine article, and a lot has obviously changed since 2018. We've been through even more storms and now a pandemic. So can you give everybody a sort of an idea of your role with St. Johns County Emergency Management and just introduce what that is for us?
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the Director of Emergency Management for St. Johns County. I've been in this position for 6 years. Been with the county since 1985. And since we last spoke, we had Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Michael, Hurricane Dorian, and COVID-19. So it's been a busy disaster cycle for us since 2016 with Matthew.
Right. And one of my questions to you this afternoon was going to be, how do you practice? Because one of the tips that you gave us back in 2018 for people looking to get into public administration or emergency management along those fields was to practice and sort of hone your craft. And I feel like I don't even have to ask, but I'm going to anyway. How do you practice for a role like that? But it sounds like maybe you've had quite a bit of practice lately.
We have. Unfortunately, we have both in St. Johns County and the state. So we also do exercises and training and planning for each type of disaster. Now, pandemic's a little different. It's not one that we practice all the time. And the last one we really were involved in was H1N1 many years back. So this has been a very new learning experience. Novel is the word that they've used. For hurricanes, the tornadoes, flooding, those are very much common for emergency management. And those are more the traditional ones that we train for and practice, but we can't apply the same fundamental structure that we do for those that we are for COVID-19. So there's a lot of overlap, but there's also a lot of newness that has come to it. It's been very much an education.
So what are some of those fundamental pieces and elements of emergency or disaster preparedness? And what are some of those differences that you're seeing now as we see this pandemic unfold?
So with emergency management comes the comprehensive emergency management plan. It provides the structure on how we respond, how the community comes together, our leadership comes together, and we become a collaboration team, the coordination for the county. So we declare a local state of emergency. We have the Emergency Operations Center at a level 2 with some of our partner agencies inside, which is a big difference from a hurricane when we have 200 people. Through this event, we've had about 22 people inside the EOC and doing a lot of things virtually. Have the local state of emergency in place, and we go through the different aspects of the disaster, protecting the community, emergency protective actions, mutual aid, resourcing. Those things have very much fallen along the same lines as a hurricane. What is very different is there was no modeling. In the beginning, there was no modeling as to what this was going to look like. And if you're familiar with hurricane tracking, we get a model every 6 hours. So here we are without a model, and that's really where a lot of our skill set kicked in. Models were being developed. In the beginning, we had 4 or 5 different models. So we had to do a lot of problem solving, creative thinking, thinking outside the box, listening to the science behind this, and be able to problem solve. And those were skills really that I learned at Flagler College in the PA program. Here's a problem. You haven't faced this before. How do you come up with the solutions? And that's what we've had to do for the last 2 months for St. Johns County, is make sure we're understanding what is going to happen, preparing the community and preparing our response to it based on all new terminology. Who knew the word flatten the curve? Who knew all these different terms that have been brought into our vocabulary, social distancing? And that we also had to take all that new vocabulary and terminology and be able to communicate it to the public effectively as to why we were making the decisions. We're very used to hurricane watch and warning. We're not so much used to what's the difference between stay at home, shelter in place, all those different terms, quarantine, isolation. So we had to really learn some new skills along the way with this. So.
Absolutely. In sort of a breakdown of tips, if you will, that you had given us, one of those things was to think creatively and think outside of the box in order to just make full use of your resources. So it sounds like you are doing that you are having to think creatively. Any other examples of things that you are finding are a lot different than what you would experience during a hurricane or a tropical storm?
So during a hurricane or tropical storm, like when we think back to Matthew, we had 200 people working inside the Emergency Operations Center. All of our partners were here. We were able to look each other face to face, look at each other in the eye. We knew when people were comfortable with the decision. Many of our decisions have been made virtually using different technology because of social distancing. And so that was a challenge in the beginning. We're used to all being in here, being able to at any moment walk into a room and make a decision. All of that planning and all those decision making had to be timed. And so it's like, I need so-and-so on the phone. So we would go get, that person on the phone, that partner agency. So very different rhythm. We had to learn a new rhythm to this disaster and get people used to doing things by conference call. Even our Board of County Commission meetings had to be redesigned.
Yeah.
So it was, you didn't have everything at your fingertips that you were used to. And in the very beginning, it was a little unsettling. But, by the end of the first week, we're like, okay, this is the way we operate. This is what happens. And it has worked actually really, really well for us. But we miss everybody being here.
Absolutely. But that's wonderful that you have found the rhythm and you're able to adapt.
Absolutely. Adapt. You have to be, in emergency management, you have to have endurance. We've been in this for several months now. The EOC runs 7 days a week. Flexibility is certainly important. Being able to reach out to people for assistance, very important. Knowing who your partners in the community are. We were even communicating with the Flagler College Clinic in the beginning, trying to make sure what their needs were. So all those different partners come together because it's a whole community approach. Very important in this type of, any type of event really, but this one has been that extra layer with the stay-at-home orders and things that we want to make sure everybody had the right communications.
Absolutely. Community is important right now.
Yes, number one. It's always number one is protect the community and to give them the proper tools to protect themselves. The other difference with this disaster has really been 4 layers of government. City, county, state, and federal government. When the president is issuing orders, the governor is issuing a large amount of executive orders. The counties has done emergency orders. You have to have that skill set to read through and peel back all these orders and then come up with the definition of them. And that is something we practice at Flagler College. Once again, here's your problems. Critical think through those problems and understand what is they're trying to tell you for your community. And sometimes it was different between counties. We had different orders than Miami-Dade did. So we spent a lot of time reviewing legal. In fact, we're pretty sure that somebody in EM should be, a lawyer at this point with the amount of executive orders that we've been dealing with. So it's been interesting on the policy side.
Okay. Now I'm curious, because of all of these skills that you're mentioning that you were able to practice and hone while you were in the public administration program at Flagler, are you running into any of your old classmates or people who are within the PAD, the public administration sort of community that you're running into during this?
Okay, so it's pretty exciting. Our brand new staff member is Gavin Butler. And
Okay.
Gavin is in his second year in the public administration program.
Wonderful.
Gavin had been with us about 45 days total when this started. Gavin
Nothing
is
like
our
trial by fire.
trial by fire. Gavin is our EM specialist, and he had worked for the county a year before at solid waste.
Okay.
And he does have an Associate of Science in Emergency Management from a college in Georgia, but he is currently very involved in the Flagler College PA program. And here we go into a level 2 activation with a local state of emergency with a pandemic, and it's Gavin, go. And we had to teach a lot on the job, just in time. And it wasn't really on the job, it was called just in time. Just in time, we taught Gavin the skills that he's been working with the last 60 days. So that just kind of proves how well Flagler College sets up their students for success. It was a huge learning curve for Gavin, a lot of new terminology. He had never been involved in something to this magnitude. He had been in the EOC before under solid waste, but not in the role that he plays today.
Sure.
So he has learned a lot.
But I think too, that's going to be wonderful for his peers in the program as well, because now they're going to learn from him the experiences he's had during this, whole situation, and bring those back to the classroom as well. And his peers will learn from him.
Absolutely. And I think Gavin is going to be more than willing to share and talk about what he was involved in. And every day he looks at me and he says, Linda, how does this touch emergency management? And I said, Gavin, this is just the way it is during a disaster. If somebody needs help or a plan needs to be put in place and they need assistance, they'll have emergency management help bring that plan together. We also have many of our partner agencies that have graduates of the Flagler PA program. And so we see them or talk to them all throughout this disaster, many over at Fire Rescue, the Sheriff's Office, that are all in manager, supervisor, lead roles that we've been working with through this.
Wow. So it's like it's its own community within a community there.
It is very much so, because then we all start talking about which instructors we had, and then if we get too heavy in the PowerPoints, we're like, you remember that instructor that used to give us all the PowerPoints? You're looking like that. So it's very much a camaraderie that has stayed with us, and we're very proud of it. When we talk about Flagler PA program, we're all very proud. In fact, Gavin told me this morning he made the president's list, and so a big round of applause from the EOC that he did that. So awesome. We're very excited for him and to see him progress through his next year at Flagler.
Wonderful. Well, we're going to keep our eye out for him, see if he gets president's list again. If he can get that during this semester, though, he can get it anytime, I'm sure.
I know. I felt in the beginning we were running 7 days a week and sometimes 12 hours a day, and that's what we do. We understand that. Poor Gavin's having to do homework at the same time, so he would ask if he could stay after we would leave for the night and finish up his homework. And we're like, sure. He goes, it's quiet, nobody's here. I have the internet. I just need to sit here instead of traveling home and getting home. He wanted to stay at the EOC, so it worked out for him. And
wonderful.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch him. I felt for him because I knew what he was going through.
Yeah, absolutely. You can feel for him. You can relate and know everything about what he's having to experience. So for people like Gavin who are looking to get into this sort of career field, what parting words do you have? Some pearls of wisdom for them, recommendations?
So the cool thing about emergency management is you don't have to come through a single path. We have people in this business that have come to emergency management from environmental, from the planning side, law enforcement, public relations. All different types of people find themselves that they're really good at emergency management, problem solving, communicating, writing, editing. All those skills are really, really important. So we always encourage people to get involved now. Get involved before you choose that as a profession. Get involved when you're in college. There's many organizations out there right now, Feeding Northeast Florida, United Way, Salvation Army, American Red Cross, and many, many others that are part of our system that are responding to COVID-19. Help them out, get involved, become a volunteer. The second thing I would say is many of our conferences offer a student track at a reduced cost to attend the hurricane conferences. They also give scholarships. Apply for those. Come to the hurricane conferences, get to meet the directors, get to meet staff, find out what it's all about, and find out which part of it is for you. There's different aspects of emergency management, as with any career. Find your niche as to how you want to contribute to it. But get involved now. Don't wait till you want to do it as a career, but build that resume now as showing that you care about the community, you're involved with the community, and you want to participate in the different conferences and the free training. There's a lot of free training out there that you can take. All good tips to get you where you want to be in emergency management.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to find that maybe they have an interest in this field and want to be labeled as a helper. So they might think that this is a path for them. So thank you.
We're kind of a hidden profession, really. People don't see us until, well, some bad's going on, whether it's a hurricane or a pandemic, but we're hard at work all the time planning for these type of events. And some people are very clear that this is what they want to do. And other people, like I said, come from a different path and touch on it and figure out this is exactly what they want to do. And Gavin has told us that after the first week of activation, he's like, this is what I want to keep doing for a living. I have found my calling. And then there's other people that do it one time and say, please don't ever make me come to that emergency operations center again. So if you have that little taste of it when you're working for a volunteer agency or part-time for an agency before you do this as a profession, it'll give you an understanding if you like it or not. And so I would certainly recommend that.
Great. Thank you for that. So Linda, thank you so much for joining us for Giving Tuesday so we could hear more about your impact story. For more information on the Flagler College Cares Emergency Relief Fund, please go to giving.flagler.edu, or to hear more about the PAD program, the Public Administration Program, which Linda has told us a little bit about and how it's helped her in her role here at the EOC in St. Johns County. Please go to flagler.edu/PAD. That stands for the Public Administration Department. And finally, if there's something in here that you want to hear Linda talk about again, or any other impact stories that you want to hear more about, please visit flagler.edu/flaglercares. Again, thank you so much, Linda, for joining us today.
All right. Thank you.